Welcome to Book Club. Today we're talking about
The Other Man.
So I haven't read this one, but Squizzy has. We're still trying to figure out what book we're going to be reading next. We're thinking Wicked. We're going to try the first 5 chapters of that after this, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see what we're doing.
But today I'm telling Vasha about The Other Man. It's a book that I just finished.
Let me see if I can guess what it's about from the cover. Let's see. The Other Man. Oh, okay. The Other Man. Obviously the title, so it's some kind of love triangle thing happening, possibly. And then let's see. Is it some kind of murder mystery as well?
What gives it murder mystery vibes?
I think just the shadowy figures.
Oh, okay. It's not a murder mystery. Are there any other clues that you get from the cover? Like maybe landscape or setting?
So it looks maybe 50s?
50s, you say?
Yeah. And let's see, are these hands? So
yes. What's on the hands?
Plants? Flowers?
Yeah, but what do they call
tattoos?
that? What do they call it?
Henna?
What country?
Oh, India?
Yeah. So it's set in India.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So does that? It's a
maybe
a romance
she's
set in
an
India.
Arranged marriage, and like her true love comes along.
The main character is a woman.
Oh, I assumed so. She's in the middle,
right? That's like what it gives, but the main character is actually a man named Ved. Yes.
All right, so he's in an arranged marriage to a woman, but he loves another man?
Yes. So this is actually set in India. I don't know what the laws are currently, but this had something called Section 877. Let me pull it up. I have it in my notes, where it's during the time where, being in a relationship with another man isn't legal. And even like I think the law covers things like hand jobs and stuff. I don't know. So I don't know.
So is that more recent than the 50s, like 80s?
I think it's even set in the 2000s. I don't know. And our main character, he's wealthy, of course, as most main characters are. He's also tall, of course, and he looks like maybe, what is it? They said George Clooney or somebody. The classically handsome guy. And he's been struggling at work because he's lonely. He's not able to tell anybody who he really is. And then his mom is like, I have found a perfect girl for you. And he's like, there is no perfect girl for me on the inside. But on the outside, he's just like, gosh, I wish I could say no to my mom at 40 years old. Can't say no to my mom. But I know, some people, you get into a pattern of being who your parent wants you to be. So
is he really 40?
I think he is, or just about.
Okay.
Or he's either like 38 or 42.
Okay.
I can't remember exactly, but he's up there. And he recently... he recently, well, not recently, it's been like 3 years since he got out of a relationship with another man who had apparently been keeping him a secret for the entire time they'd been together. And he was engaged to a woman that he ended up married to. And he comes to him one night and he's like, Ved, he's our main character. Ved, I'll always love you, but I'm getting married to someone else. But what we have between us doesn't have to change. So Ved was like, no, I actually love you. Like, this ain't gonna work for me. So he ends up leaving that man, and then we get to the point where he meets Carlos. Carlos is the new love interest. He meets him after he's engaged to Desha, I believe is how her name is pronounced. And Carlos, he's like this. He like travels around. He does all these kind of things. He's also recently out of a relationship. They met each other on Grindr, and so they're like having lunch together. And then Ved is like, my last boyfriend recently broke up with me because this, and the other. And then Ved told him that his last boyfriend broke up with him because he was engaged. And this is the perfect opportunity to tell Carlos that he's also engaged. Does he?
No.
What always happens in these romance novels, like they're constantly in the back of their mind thinking, I should tell him this, that, or the other. And then it's forced out of them. I don't think I've ever read one where they actually get around to telling the person themselves. Have you?
No.
Like, even in fan fiction, something forces it to come out.
Right. You know what we should have done?
What?
We should have had it where I gave you like book club questions to answer and
Oh,
then you
yeah.
responded. But we're already doing it now.
Yeah. But yeah, like on the very night, well, the day after Ved finally got around to confessing who he really is to his father, and his dad was like, I wish you told me sooner. And so he was like crying and stuff. And he was like, so now I have the courage to finally tell my mom, because she's the one who's like pushing the most for the wedding.
Did an Indian author write the book?
I don't know. Let me check actually, because that's one thing that I was curious about. Let me see here. Information about the book. Let's see. About this book. By Farhad Jade. I assume it's an Indian name.
Okay.
But yeah. So. Oh, he kind of looks like a white man. But yeah. Oh yeah, born, let's see.
Born and based in Mumbai, India.
Yeah. And several, yeah. So he will know what he's talking about, of course, when it comes to this book. And
I was like, supportive father?
He had been like pretty absentee most of his life because he was working so hard, like building up their big business. But they get closer after, after he comes out to him. And then the mom, she finds out through the newspaper because him and Carlos went to a club and they were drinking, carrying on, kissing on a couch. And that photo ended up in a newspaper. And his mom was like, what is this? You get married in 3 days. Yeah, that's right. The wedding is 3 days away. And he's just like, Mom, I'm so sorry. And he breaks down into tears. And then she's like, what did I do to make you think you couldn't come to me? So I was like, oh, his mom. But yeah, like you never know who you can come out to, though, or how their response is going to be. And then like it feels bad when they say, what did I do that you couldn't come out to me? But like you've been struck. Like I feel like I don't know what the correct question would be. Like if somebody had been hiding something like that,
Yeah.
And instead of like making them feel bad for not trusting you,
right?
Like I don't know what the correct response would be, but yeah.
Like, do I seem homophobic?
But like it's like the whole laws and everything. You don't know.
Yeah.
This forces him to eventually tell Carlos, and he's like, we can finally be together now. Like everybody knows that I'm gay, and like the wedding is off. And he was like, I didn't even know you're gonna get married. He was like, how can I trust you? And I was also sitting there like, how can you trust him? So I was kind of understanding. I was very understanding when he left, and I was also like, I wouldn't be able to get back with Ved because he hid something so big for so long, and Carlos. So many times Carlos would be like, you seem like there's something going on. Seems like there's something you're hiding from me. Like in days he'd be like, are you okay? Like you can tell me anything. So I'm like, he gave this man multiple chances.
Yeah, and I'd be like, what would have happened if like nobody found out? Would you have just gone through with the wedding? Right?
Exactly. Like that would always be sitting with me. But being as it's a romance novel, he does after 2 months of Ved finding himself, he like quits his big job with his dad's company. And I was like, man, somebody wealthy had to have written this. I can't relate.
Well, like, why is he giving up his job now that he's getting into a relationship?
Because the job never really made him happy. He was doing it because it's another thing that he thought his parents wanted from him anyway. And he's like, now I've got time to like find all my passions. And I'm like, man, I wish I could. Stupid rich boy. But yeah, he quits his job. He becomes a counselor with LGBT youth in India, and he's like, now I have time to find pursuits that I'm passionate about, like painting or something, or blah 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 blah. And then he moves into, because he's been living with his dad this whole time. He moves into a little house that reminds him of like the nature that his grandpa grew up with. And all this time he's been texting Carlos because Carlos hasn't been responding like for the past 2 months or whatever. And like he's been texting him, and then finally it comes to Desha's wedding. Desha, apparently she had also been seeing someone else through their entire engagement. So I guess the cover is also still accurate. But yeah, at the wedding, Carlos finally texts him back, and he's like, "Your mom sent me an email a month ago saying that I would regret leaving you," and he was like, "I actually did," and I was like, I don't like the end of this book. But yeah, they end up together. It's pretty good. I gave it a 3 out of 5.
What's the writing style like?
Oh, it's pretty. It's okay.
Oh, okay.
Like it's a lot better than the ones that we've read recently, but it's not like up there with what I would consider like an epic.
Is it comedic or more
It's kind of
serious?
sad. It's
Oh,
serious.
okay.
Written by a man with a PhD. You think there's some comedy in here? But yeah, I think it was pretty good. Does it sound like it was pretty good to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was kind of frustrating though, because he was doing the exact same thing to this guy that had been done to him, and I was like, that makes it worse. If it hadn't been done to him before, I wouldn't be as judgmental of that, I think. Yeah. But he was a character that I couldn't connect with.
Yeah.
I liked Desha though. She's like a fashion designer, and she originally broke up with her original boyfriend, the one she ends up marrying later, because she didn't think her parents would approve of him. And so,
what was wrong with him?
I can't remember. It said earlier on in the book, but I didn't highlight it or anything.
I'll assume he was like didn't have
or something.
Yeah.
Brokey. But we don't know. But yeah, if you like this book, if you like MLM, and if you want to read one that's like more set in like a different country, like I've read so many that are set in like San Francisco or a ranch somewhere where somebody falls for a handsome cowboy or a mechanic.
Is it steamy?
No. Right. I'm not a huge fan of steam. I usually skip most sex scenes. But yeah, this doesn't have much steam. It's got a little bit of sweetness to it. And it's really nice for people who, are distanced from their parents and, are looking for that thing to connect. Because toward the end of the book, his mom, Dolly, the one who had been pushing so hard for him to end up in a relationship, she's like, "I'm going to therapy now. My therapist tells me to take like 5 breaths before I respond to somebody so I can really think about what I'm saying," So I thought it was really nice. And a lot of older generation parents don't go to therapy, and they should. Now she's pushing it for him but toward the end she was like pushing for him to get into another relationship with a man, and she's like, "I need grandkids." Haven't you heard of surrogates? But yeah, she was getting better toward the end. So
that was The Other Man.
Yeah. And we'll try to get our chapters read for Wicked and let you know how we feel about that.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get through it. I know some people aren't fans of the book, but there are some people who do like the book.
Yeah, a lot of people who started the book after the play.
They're just expecting something different.
Yeah. And especially after the movie, they're expecting something different. And no, it's way different. I've started on it. I've read probably half of the first chapter.
Yeah,
way different. Like not for kids.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go into it, try not to expect anything.
And don't picture like Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande. Right. Like just don't do that. But yeah, like it's really sarcastic. Like it feels like somebody who's always going is like written a book. But yeah, Other Man. See you guys next week.